Hey, what's up guys? Dimebot here, and we are back in the Elite Dangerous 3.0.1 beta, just coming into land here at Blackhide with my Chieftain. Hey guys, as always, if you enjoyed the content, please like and subscribe. It actually helps me out a lot. Alright, advertisements over. Let's get this thing on the ground and talk about the engineers. There have been a ton of changes. I didn't mean get it on the ground that way. This is what happens when you take your hand off the throttle. There's been a ton of changes to the engineers, and I thought it would be beneficial to talk about them. Now, for those that don't know or have never really messed with it, the engineers allow us ways to customize different modules on our ships. This is including core internals, optional internals, weapons, things like that. So let's get down here and have a look. So now, for the beta, they have made the Dweller available to us, and he can work on everything. So, this is not normally the case. All the engineers specialize, but the Dweller for the beta allows us to test out pretty much everything. So, let's take a look at my shield generator here. Those of you familiar with the engineers will notice that this screen looks a lot different. What kind of shields do we want? Let's just go with reinforced, because I have a lot of roles in that. So here you see a bunch of little bars. So these two red ones are going to be negative effects that we get when we apply a modification. This is going to be a flat for each rank here, each grade, and it's only going to apply once per grade. This shows us the amount of positive change. So we'll get plus 40% kinetic resistance, plus or minus 20% thermal, plus 50% explosive, and a plus 120% optimal strength. And I leave these other two numbers below. This one is the percentage change, or the percentage it'll take you around the ring, I believe, and then this one is extra percent you could get because there is some RNG here. Now we have phosphorus, which is going to be our main material. This is where all those materials that you have stored in your inventory are going to come in. And you'll notice that for the new system, everything has its own inventory of 100. This also applies to data. No longer is it a fixed cap, which is great. It means we won't be juggling that stuff as much. So let's generate a modification here. It will show us that we'll get plus 4% to our distributor draw, and the regen rate, if broken, will go down. Well, it'll increase by 10%, basically. It's a negative. So let's generate this. And, whoa, lots of bars doing things. So you see this orange bar that takes us around the circle, and we generate again, and again. Now, you'll notice that these circles are not complete, but we do have access to level 2, which we cannot do. Freaking-tastic. Let's do enhanced low power real quick, because I can, and that will wipe the previous modification, because I can actually roll the second level of that. There we go. Now we have access to level 2. And we have 3 potential rolls of this. You'll notice that these numbers have changed again. Optimal hull mass is going to fall, as is integrity. And you'll notice these rolls are very random. We've gotten some very big ones. We've gotten some small ones. Both of those have been pretty large. Not quite enough to get us to level 3. However, what we can do is take a look at experimental effects, and then I want to talk about the cost of this stuff. So, all modules, including weapons and internals, now have experimental effects that you can add. So, for this, I could add fast charge, high-speed charging units, increase shield regeneration rate while active, blah, blah, blah. This is not going to apply if it's broken. Actually, it is going to increase the broken. That's nice. High cap, multi-weave. Actually would be something to take a look at. It's going to have all kinds of bad effects on power and distributor draw. Low draw, thermal block, so this is going to be for thermal weapons. Force block. Double brace, this is going to up the integrity of this module, and strip down, this will lower weight. Good for you explorers out there. So we can purchase fast charge, slap it on there, now we can see it. Now we can go back and change these out at any time if we have the resources for it. Let's take a look at another module. For example, say sensors. to find one here that I have a bunch of materials for. So, those of you familiar with the system now will know that you can spend hours and hours grinding hundreds upon thousands of rolls to get the, quote, God rolls on tier 5 because of the sheer RNG. This system, and I do like a lot of the stuff they've done, allows you to know what you're going to get without a lot of the RNG. That has been moved to the experimental effects. They're basically the secondary effects that used to cause all the RNG problems. However, in the old system, you used to be able to reach grade 5 with a module, and then when you bought a new one, you could simply engineer it straight to level 5. With this, you have to go through each grade for each module. So, for my Anaconda, which mounts multiple lasers, I will have to go through grade 5 for each of them. And at 3 to 4 rolls per attempt, that's going to end up being a significant number of rolls and a significant amount of resources that we're going to have to use. Now, is it going to be as much as the old God tier chasing? No, it's not going to be thousands upon thousands of rolls, but it is going to be quite the grind. Let's take a look here. I have 3 pulse lasers on this chieftain. So let's say that I wanted to go for lightweight mount here. So we can generate 1 modification. That's 1 roll. So it's going to take us 3 to get to level 2. It's going to take us 3 or 4 to get to grade 3. Now that we're at grade 3, we can only roll once, but... So you can imagine, you know, we just had to do 7 or 8, 9 rolls there, and to repeat this for every single weapon is going to require quite a resource investment, a lot of going around and scavenging, or spending a lot of time at the materials broker, which is actually quite useful, and I'll look at in another video. But this is going to require a ton of effort for every single module. I think a better compromise might have been, once you have grade 5 unlocked, let us start a new module at grade 4, and then maybe extend the grind for grade 5, the top end of it. What they are wanting to do here is to make it so engineering is an ongoing process, and I fully agree with that. I think, however, that they're going to make it even grindier to get everything on your ship to the top end, and I think it's actually going to make it a lot more boring. It certainly makes me just want to hang on to all of my old modules that I've rolled in the new system, or in the old system, because we will get to keep them and not really have to mess with this too much. I don't want to spend any more time grinding for materials, and I don't want to have to spin these little wheels on this menu screen, you know, for every single module 15 to 20, you know, a couple dozen times to work it all the way through these little trees. So, you know, this is certainly just my opinion. I think the system overall has a lot of merits to it. You can take it or leave it, you know, you'll have your own opinion on it. But I think some tweaking needs to be done, and of course that's what the beta is for. Alright guys, that has just been a quick look at it. We'll get more in-depth later. This is something that's been being talked about in our Discord a lot. We've got some guys in there that are pretty good at crunching the numbers and taking a look at stuff, so there's always a Discord link in the description below. And if you enjoyed, remember, like and subscribe. I will see you guys next time.